Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are the Office Blokes.
We are.
Yeah.
It is true. The chicken conspiracy robbing Americans of the Toyota Hilux.
Ah.
That's a bizarre sentence that sounds like it was written by AI.
Toyota Hilux.
There was a country I lived in once where you couldn't drive a Toyota Hilux unless you had a commercial presence.
Right,
You couldn't buy it just to use it for your own personal use.
Right.
You can only buy it for commercial purposes.
Wow.
They've sort of tried that over here, but then backtracked, haven't they?
No, but you
Because
can still buy anything you want over here.
you can buy anything you want, but they've changed it. They tried to change the tax incentives for commercial
correct.
vehicles
Yeah.
to essentially price people
Yeah.
out of using them for domestic,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Well, it wasn't so price amount domestic because you can go and buy you're talking about the Ford Ranger, aren't you?
Well,
More than anything. The Ford Ranger was the big one.
It was pickups in general, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
anything, if it's got a payload of more than a ton, I think it's tax write-offable.
If it's a business, if it's a corporation one, but
Yeah.
you can still go and buy one personally.
Yeah.
and use it as a
Yeah.
personal,
Of course you can,
personal
yeah.
car without paying any tax on it.
Yeah.
But in this country I was in, you couldn't own a Toyota Hilux.
Wow.
You weren't allowed
Where was
Wow.
it?
at UAE.
Wow.
That's
How
You
interesting.
weren't
strange.
allowed to have one unless you were a commercial presence.
Was that all sort of like pickups? Or
Don't
just
know. The only one that someone
Right.
told me once about, because I said we could do with something, we'll get a Toyota Hilux when you can't get one.
Wow.
Right.
Mm.
They're pretty much indestructible, aren't they?
Don't know.
Out of all the pickups, that's the one that the Top Gear guys
Yeah.
put on the high-rise building
That's right,
and then
yeah,
blew it
yeah.
up, and it still drove after it.
Funny, though, isn't it?
Kind of drove.
It's sort of, yeah. I think at the end of it, they had it as like a
It's like a
part of
showpiece.
the
wasn't
thingy
it?
showpiece on
Yeah.
the set, wasn't it? So
Yeah. I like them.
yeah.
Definitely. I wouldn't mind a pickup. Let's do it then. A bit of Fat Electrician, the conspiracy chicken. No, the chicken conspiracy robbing Americans.
Just before you start talking of pickups, we've seen a Dodge Ram on the road before, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Don't
That's
see
right.
many of them on the street over here.
You don't see many at all.
I saw, granted, I was watching a TV program, but I saw a Ford F600, I think it was, or a Ford F650.
Yeah. With a triple wheelbase on it.
Really old, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, decades old. Falling apart, covered in rust, but such a cool
Yeah.
bench seats in it, that are just
Yeah,
bouncing up
yeah.
and
Still
down while we're
going.
driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute monster.
Yeah,
though.
they
It
are.
was like,
Yeah.
the bonnet was easily up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. You just can't get them on our roads, really, can you?
no.
No, it's huge.
No. Anyway, let's do it. The chicken conspiracy robbing Americans of the Toyota Hilux.
He was just making you see it. Say it again.
Just once in my life, I would like to go to the internet with a question and have my question answered without falling into an enormous rabbit hole of government conspiracies and nonsense. Okay, long story short, Toyota's got this new truck coming out. It's just a flatbed, plain Jane work truck, nothing fancy about it.
Is that the one that's like $12,000 or something?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it.
There was one announced not too long ago that is like, it's going to be so dirt cheap.
Yeah.
You'd have to buy it over other things if you were.
Yeah, it
in
looks
the
fairly
market.
basic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be like $10,000 or $11,000
there you
brand new. So naturally, I wanted one. So naturally, I go to the internet with the simple question, am I going to be able to buy this new Toyota truck in America? To which I am met with the answer, probably not. Most likely for the same reason you can't buy a Toyota Hilux, which is the other thing that's been pissing me off for 10 years inside of America. And naturally, in the back of my head, I just kind of assumed like, oh, Toyota just doesn't want to sell that truck in America for some reason. Maybe the money's not right. It costs too much to import, whatever. And yeah, it does cost too much to import, but it's because of chickens and Lyndon B. Johnson. That's why.
What's that? Nick's so mad he forgot to send me a segue for the ad. Well, that means we gotta do it, right? Yeah. I don't know what that was. Play the ad. Me?
This video is sponsored by Aura, where you can get everything you need to be safe and productive online in one convenient location. When you sign up for Aura, you're going to get a 15-day free trial with Aura. Let's get back to the video. And I can hear the comment section already. Buh, if you want a Hilux, just get a Tacoma. They're basically the same thing. Buh. No, they are not, for multiple reasons. For one, I've driven a Tacoma, and it is literally the slowest moving vehicle I have ever driven in my entire life. That thing accelerates from 0 to 60 in like 3 to 5 business days, okay? Fucking Fred Flintstone would beat that thing in a drag race. Secondly, I don't vividly remember being 14 years old watching Top Gear with my dad and seeing those guys drop a fucking Tacoma into the ocean for 8 hours, fishing it out, and then getting it started in like 15 minutes. And then because that wasn't enough to kill it, they decided they were going to hit it with a wrecking ball, drive it through a building, light it on fire, and then stick it on top of a skyscraper before blowing the entire building up with it. And then the motherfucker still started, okay?
What a great idea for a program, that though.
Yeah, I know,
Doing
right?
it that short, absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Get it on a building. Someone's come up with a gem of an idea there.
I
Absolutely brilliant.
I miss the old school Top Gear from back in those days.
Yeah.
Like the Grand Tour was good, and I think they're doing 1 or 2 more episodes, and then they're calling it a day.
Yeah.
And it's epic, and it's the big road trips and stuff. But old fashioned Top Gear, where it's just
Some of the ideas are
cars
brilliant.
and stupid ideas without the budget to just go to Botswana and drive pickups
Yeah.
across it for 5 days.
I think if them three were still doing it, one of them would be gone.
It would have been Hammond.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
been close a
it's-
few times, hasn't he?
yeah.
Tacomas are not on the same level as Hiluxes. I don't care what you say, you will never convince me otherwise. It is the equivalent of my mom trying to convince me that store brand toaster pastries are Pop-Tarts. No, they're not. Pop-Tarts are Pop-Tarts, and Pop-Tarts are fucking awesome. And you want to know why I can't get my metaphorical Pop-Tart? Why I can't own and drive my own Toyota Hilux? It's because America was too good at selling chickens in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so here's the deal. Generally speaking, throughout the majority of human history, chickens have always been like super expensive and seen as only something that rich people got to eat until very recently, which, think about it for a second, it starts to make a little bit more sense. You have like cows and goats and llamas and whatever other fucking farm animals you have, and they just basically wander around and they eat the grass, okay? That's not very expensive. Then you have pigs. You could literally just feed them garbage and they'll turn it into bacon somehow through evolutionary magic. Chickens, on the other hand, you have to like feed them grain and like actually give them real food that a human could technically eat. So, historically speaking, they've always been one of the more expensive farm animals, so only rich people got to eat them. Then in the 1950s, after World War II, thanks to refrigeration and a couple of other innovations, America got super, super good at raising chickens. They got so good, in fact, that we could raise chickens, slaughter them in America, ship them across a fucking ocean while refrigerating them, and sell them in Europe, and it was still cheaper than people could grow and raise chickens in Europe, so Europe was eating a bunch of American chicken.
So they had too much cock.
I guess that's one way to put it. Why?
Just never thought I'd hear that come out of my mouth.
Anyways, this goes on for a number of years, and the European countries, primarily Germany, was spearheading this entire thing. They get together and they're like, hey, let's put a 25% tariff on American chicken coming into the European market. That way, European chicken is more competitive. And if that wasn't enough, they started a major propaganda campaign basically saying that America fills their chickens full of antibiotics and growth hormones, so it's really unhealthy for people to eat, which, I mean, honestly, that's probably a fair assessment. But regardless, America's now pissed off. So this is 1962, and this European tariff on American chicken passes. And for the next 18 months, it is the pinnacle of American politics, trying to get Europe to buy more American chickens. And it becomes known as the Chicken War, right in the middle of the Cold War. I'm not even exaggerating. There were literally American politicians that cared more about getting Europeans to eat more chicken than they did about the pending nuclear war with the Soviet Union. The Chancellor of Germany, Konrad Adenauer, said that he had more conversations with JFK about Germans eating American chicken than he did about the pending nuclear war. There was a senator from Arkansas that was sitting in a NATO meeting when he stood up, interrupted the entire NATO meeting, and declared that America was going to withdraw from NATO and Europe could defend itself if they didn't lift the sanctions on American chicken. Obviously, that didn't actually happen. Despite that, the tariff ended up staying up, and after 18 months of trying to diplomatically solve this issue, then President Lyndon B. Johnson is like, fuck it, I'm just going to put a tariff on you guys too, and he put a 25% tariff on potato starch, dextrin, brandy, and light cargo vehicles. Now, obviously, chicken is a food product, which they are tariffing, so America is going to tariff dextrin, potato starch, and brandy, which are also food products. That part makes sense, but why on earth is America going to start taxing light cargo vehicles? Well, you see, that's where the good old-fashioned political corruption comes in, because it's 1964, it's an election year, and the UAE is about to go on strike, the United Automotive Workers Union, and them going on strike during an election year is going to be disastrous for Lyndon B. Johnson's chances of getting reelected. So LBJ and the president of the UAE come to a little quid pro quo agreement. In exchange for the UAE not going on strike during LBJ's election, LBJ is going to abuse his political power to make sure that somehow, some way, so many Volkswagen Type 2s, which are incredibly popular in America right now, quit getting imported, aka the love bus, you know.
They're popular everywhere, aren't they? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, huge.
I see
Yeah,
I see
business.
signs on ones on the street that are parked on driveways that says this is not for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that people literally do go around to other people's houses if they see one parked up.
But they brought a new one out now, haven't
The
they?
electric one.
Yeah, it's
horrible.
electric, is
It's
it?
fully electric.
Oh,
It
okay.
looks horrible.
It looks the same as that one, just a more
It
modern
doesn't.
version.
It doesn't. Well, it's bigger, and weirder, and more streamlined.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. But my dad used to have a few of them,
Yeah.
and he always says he regrets selling them. But I'm like, You would have had to store them for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Any profit you would have made if it
gone.
hasn't rusted away. It's gone anyway.
You just wouldn't know, would you?
No.
That they become so popular again. It's sort of the
It's
things.
not for
isn't it?
me. I won't be driving around in one anyway. But
You
no,
get
it's-
over 50 miles an hour on the motorway and they just overheat. They just break down. You see them on the hard shoulder all the time.
I don't get the trend of it, mate.
It's just, I don't know. It's just
It's like a hippie
retro
trend,
thing
isn't it?
again,
Retro,
isn't it?
yeah,
It's like
retro
going to
trend of
record players, and everything comes back eventually, doesn't it? And they seem to be a big part of it.
It's fashion over functionality, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
but I
want
can
to be
see-
seen to be driving
I
that
think, it got,
versus
I think it
like...
got bigger again during COVID again as well, because people would holiday more over here,
Yeah.
couldn't go abroad, so people were like, let's
Yeah.
go on holiday over here. So
A good tidy one of them, the old school ones, good condition, converted and everything, 60, 70 grand.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Absolute
ridiculous,
madness,
isn't
isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think what you can get for that sort of money?
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Well, you've seen those. This is where they went. They went away because of this. So this is why light cargo vehicles gets added to the chicken tax, adding a 25% tariff to basically make it so that Germany can't import the Type 2. Now, light cargo vehicle at this point in time is defined as 2 seats or less and designed to transport cargo. So then, because of that, all the foreign auto car makers like Toyota and Honda and all the other ones that make small trucks, not wanting to pay a 25% tax to import their trucks, start importing the truck itself, like the chassis and the cab and the motor, all completely built in their country, and then they ship over the bed separately, and then they have a warehouse where they like throw a couple of bolts on and attach the bed, so that way it's assembled in America and they're only going to get taxed 4% instead of 25% because the US government is this fucking stupid.
Literally still happens with food products,
That
doesn't
happens
it?
loads of time. Yeah.
The amount of British chicken you buy at cheap supermarkets that's come from Indonesia or somewhere, but it's packaged in the UK.
Oh, really?
There's loads, and
Wow.
there's like they'll set up company names that sound like something, and then they can say officially British chicken, but officially British will be a company that imports chicken from
Yeah, yeah.
Indonesia.
Really?
Yeah, there's loads of scams like
Oh,
that.
there
It's
is, yeah,
all
you-
over the
unbelievable.
place.
Yeah, it's how you word stuff as well. I mean, we,
Yeah,
used to,
yeah.
we used to have an operation in one of our warehouses where we used to do where we used to redate stuff. Don't know your best before dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can redate them.
It's
It
mad,
was,
isn't
it was legal. It wasn't nothing
right.
illegal. We weren't running some kind of like fucking illegal operation.
3 months out of date. Or
But we used to do things like used to do like toothpaste brands and stuff. We used to sell, put the toothbrush and the toothpaste together to do 2 for 1 and all that kind of stuff. And one for you in one of the Muslim countries we was in, we weren't allowed to do the Cinderella or Pocahontas, whatever it was on the toothbrush, because it was a bit too
a bit too raunchy.
yeah,
Wow.
because she was in like a bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's mad, isn't it? You got to be very careful with the way things are phrased because
Yeah, just a bit.
you can think you're getting one thing and you're getting something else entirely.
Yeah.
So then in the 1980s, the US government closes that loophole, to which all the other auto car makers are like, fine, we'll just exploit another loophole. We'll just start adding more seats, so that way there's more than 2 seats, so it's not a cargo vehicle, it's just a normal vehicle. And this is why every small to mid-sized truck, 1980s through like the early 2000s, had those tiny little seats in the back that no human could ever actually fit on. It's because they were never actually designed for people to sit on. They were just there so that they could legally say, oh, it's designed to sit more than 2 people, therefore I get taxed at 4% instead of 25%, again, because the government is dumb. Which, fun fact, this is also why the Subaru Brat had those stupid plastic seats in the back. And then they came out with the CAFE standards, which is basically like trying to, save the environment with emissions and stuff. And the rule was the vehicle has to be like proportional compared to how much emission that it emits, I guess. So like if a truck is really big, it can emit a bunch of CO2 into the atmosphere. But if a truck is really small, it's not allowed to emit a bunch of CO2 into the atmosphere. And this is actually why all the trucks in America are fucking ginormous lately in like the last 20 years. Okay, I know that's like a super popular thing to bitch about. Like you hear a bunch of hippies and college kids bitching about how American trucks are too big and it's more dangerous and they're taking up space on the road and they're beating up the infrastructure. Yeah, it's because of stupid fucking emissions policies, because it's easier for automakers to just make the truck physically fucking larger than it is to make the emissions somehow magically lower. So that's why that's happening. So not only is the CAFE standards not helping with emissions and CO2, it's actually incentivizing automakers to make trucks unnecessarily ridiculously large just so they can comply with this law. And I know what you're thinking, well, at least the chicken tax is helping American automakers compete in the market so that they can make more money and stay in business. And that's just not the case anymore either, because even they're getting fucked over by this law. Because when Ford tries to import transit vehicles, which they have made over in Turkey, they have to intentionally put extra seats and windows and shit inside inside of it, import it, and then send them to a factory and have all the seats and windows taken out and convert it back into a fucking cargo vehicle. This is why all the transit vans and shit that are super popular are really fucking expensive, and this is why my work that I work at to be an electrician can't ever find a goddamn transit van to use as a work truck because A, they're getting way more expensive because we're having to import them with extra seats so they're not cargo vehicles because somehow that saves money, and then my boss is desperately trying to compete with all the fucking millennials that want to go live in a van and start an Instagram so they can have hashtag van life in every fucking picture they post. This policy is literally helping nobody. Nobody on the planet is benefiting right now except for maybe the government so that they can get more tax money over fucking nothing, okay? Potatoes, dextrin, all that other shit, all that shit's gone. They're not tariffing that anymore. That tax went away. It's just on cargo vehicles now, and it's for no reason. And you're like, oh, this fucking fat electrician guy's just misrepresenting the entire situation because he's angry that he can't own a Toyota truck that he wants. No, that's not it. In 2003, the Cato Institute researched the entire thing. This is 21 years ago, by the way. They did all the research and they came to the conclusion, and I quote, "The chicken tax is a policy that is in search of a rationale. There's no fucking reason for this law to exist other than to fuck people over." I have literally spent the last 3 days of my life successfully wrapping my entire brain around this issue and come to the conclusion it's so fucking stupid that it's driving me insane. This is literally the epitome of government intervention. What's the problem? Oh, Germany's not eating enough American chicken. Don't worry, the government's gonna step in and help. Fast forward 70 years. Guess what? Germany's still not eating enough American chicken, but you're not allowed to own a Toyota Hilux either. Oh, good. I'm literally getting cock-blocked from owning my dream car. Thank you. I'll be honest, I don't even understand how I got here. Like, I woke up one morning, there was like, oh, hey, Toyota's coming out with a new truck that's gonna be super cheap and cool. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna be allowed to buy it. And next thing I know, I'm fucking the internet's crazy uncle on Thanksgiving somehow. I need a beer. Okay, this is too much. I gotta go. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com.
I wonder why that's why we couldn't get one in the Middle East. Some sort of reason.
Literally moaned about the exact same sort of stuff in this country, though. Like we have those stupid laws too.
We do, yeah. I think most countries have them where they say we're going to, it's like a trade-off, isn't it? We're going to, if you're going to tax us on that, we're going to tax you on this.
Yeah.
And it's
just dick swinging competition.
Yeah,
basically.
I think the USA did it. Did they do it with steel to try and get the steel industry back up and running in the USA?
Yeah, it's all protectionism, isn't it, of your own industries? I think. They started doing that, didn't they? So they could make steel cheaper over there and taxed it massively coming in from like China and stuff.
It makes sense because we did it. I think we tried it with the steel industry as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
But when you come to things like that, it's just madness.
But in the end, people are you pay for it anyway. You know, the tax the steel coming in from China, so it's more expensive. So you buy it over here, but then the prices over here are more anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem you face as well, though, is when it's manufactured over here, the fucking go slow, innit? So everyone's trying to build a house or build whatever they want to do, and all the building materials not available because the people who manufacture them over here are all maxed out.
Yeah,
they can't do it. So you have to pay a little bit more to get it brought in anyway, but you can get it. It's accessible.
It costs construction companies more to access the steel, don't it? So then it's passed on to the customer.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make it any cheaper for us in the long run. Yeah.
The Ford Ranger is the most popular pickup in the whole of Europe.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And obviously, we can't go bigger. We can't start having F-150s and stuff. Cause
you probably get away with an F-150 over here.
We reacted to a video, didn't we? Was it a car wow video of a guy?
Was that an F-150?
I think it was
It was probably a souped-up version, a bigger version.
Yeah.
But I think he also, when we watched that car wow video, I think he over-exaggerated his driving on it.
I
reckon I could drive an F-150 over here.
Well, people drive buses, so of course you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'd like a Ranger. I've been debating a Hilux versus a Ranger recently.
Yeah.
I've been looking at it, and we'll see.
Yeah, you'd suit one of them. You're proper redneck, right?
I've just always wanted a pickup.
Yeah,
I really have.
Can you get a roof rack on a pickup though?
Yes.
Can you? Oh,
of course you can.
Of
course you can.
Because at an angle. Or you have to have the support bar at the back. So you have to have the frame on it, don't you? The rear frame.
Or it's like the sort of truckman cab, where you get this with the windows in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll suit you down to the ground, that mate. Honestly.
Yeah, but again, Hilux.
And you don't have to wash them as often.
It's true. It's true. But Toyota,
a bit of dirt up the side, don't they?
They look better.
Anyway.
That's what I'm saying. But at least when he don't wash his car now, everyone goes, "Car's dirty, mate."
Yeah.
But when you got
less
pickup truck,
it's expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, the Toyota Hilux is expensive over here as well, though, just because they're such a workhorse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're literally like all the farmers near me have either got the Isuzu D-Max or the Toyota Hilux.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And they'll just last forever.
I don't think where I live anyone has a truck.
I wouldn't mind
maybe
betting
not.
there's a couple of like Ford Ranger wild tracks that are souped up.
I'm talking about where the block where I live.
Yeah, all
So
right.
like
in
in
your
the car
block.
park where I
Yeah,
park.
Some of them
Yeah.
are a bit snug getting them in, wouldn't they? I'm guessing.
No, not really. I just because we've got the outside parking as well.
Yeah. Oh,
I just don't think
course.
anyone's got.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of hundred cars there, and I don't think anyone's got a.
Is that many? Wow.
yeah.
Ford Ranger's only 30 centimetres longer than my car.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I know my car's pretty long anyway, but 30 centimetres extra for
Yeah.
something that big, it's not that bad,
Yeah.
really.
No, it's not too bad actually.
Yeah.
There you
Nice.
go. If anyone wants to sell Dave a Hilux, hit him up.
Yep.
If anyone wants to donate him one,
Yeah, sponsor.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.